Hey everyone, I'm here with my mom and she is working on the wedding cake for my nephew's wedding. And so we're gonna turn this camera around and she's gonna tell you all about it. You've been working hard, haven't you, Mama?
Oh yes, of course. Doing wedding cakes, I've done them for over 50 years.
All right, so I'm gonna turn the camera around so that you can tell them about it, okay?
Alrighty.
Okay.
All right. Okay, let's talk a little bit about how I do these cakes, because this year, this particular cake is going to be what they call a naked cake, where you don't put all the decorations on it. It looks naked because it's just got a seal on it so the crumbs aren't falling all over the place. And this is the groom's cake. It's a chocolate cake with chocolate icing made with butter. This is going to be just the bride loves red velvet, and she just wanted a separate cake that was a red velvet cake. So we have this one, which I'm going to have to put some more icing on it because the red cake mix bled through and you got a slight pink tinge. So I'm going to fix that here in a little bit. And then here's Annie's favorite part. Well, not only Annie, but her brother was here last night and he's 52. I've been doing cakes since the kids were little. And so their favorite part is what I cut off.
When you cut that off the top, it is my favorite part.
And you have to have it cut off because when you're doing a wedding cake, you don't want that big hump in the middle. Like, you know, we bake a cake and we have the big hump. So you always bake it with more cake mix than you actually need. And a hint on that, if you want to get rid of the humps in those cakes that you bake, whether it is your round cake or whether it's an oblong cake, just a 9 by 13, pour the batter around the outside edge of the cake pan. Let it flow to the middle. Because what do we always do? We dump it in the middle, spread it out. And then you have more in the center so you get that hump. So there's a nice little tip. But I bake them up more so that when they're finished, I take a knife and just cut the top off to make it flat so it looks nice and flat and even. That's my little hint about that. And since this one bled through, I've got to put another layer, thin layer of frosting on the top to cover the pink. So I always make my recipe, and when you want white icing, you use white Crisco. I add salt to it, usually vanilla, and there we go. But it's a little bit thick, so I'll add some water to this, and then I can just put a glaze over the top of this cake and not have that pink showing through. So that's my little hint with that.
But you put powdered sugar, what is it, powdered sugar?
Powdered sugar, Crisco, salt, and whatever flavoring, whether it is vanilla or whether it's a butter flavoring, whatever. I use white vanilla when I'm doing a white cake, frosting that's white. When I do the chocolate frosting, it's the powdered sugar, but I use real butter in it, salt, and cocoa powder, and generally vanilla, but you can buy white vanilla, and I have a big old jug of it, so yes. All right, so this will be the wedding cake. That's the bottom layer, the middle layer, the top layer. I never put them together before I never have them together when I take them to a wedding because there's no way to travel with a big cake all set up like that. So this is naked. It's going to get the greenery, like I said before. Easiest cake to do is a naked cake. I like naked cake. Right. And then what you do when you stack them, I have these dowel sticks, and so I'll cut the little top off to where it's exactly right. Put the dowels in.
So you poke them in. And how many do you think that you would put? Okay,
in this one I'll use 4, kind of in the center.
Right.
And you do that, and then you start adding your layers. If you don't have something that will make them secure and solid, then you could end up with your cake kind of falling into each other or falling over or whatever. So you want to avoid any accident.
Okay.
And then this is what I'm going to try. So we'll see if it works. We're using greenery on this cake. The bride wanted eucalyptus on it. So we have eucalyptus that we're going to put on. And so I bought these bobby pins, and I'll just open them up a little bit in the back ends, put the eucalyptus in it, and poke this into the cake. Otherwise, I can't figure out how you make that hold on there. So That's it. To be continued.
All right, we'll be back later on when we put this together, and we'll see how it turns out. I know it's going to be beautiful, and it's going to taste amazing. So
It will.
So we'll be back.
We will.